There's a massive iron and nickel core at the center of the Earth. This core rapidly rotates, generating electromagnetic energy. The center of the Earth is a giant magnet. This magnet acts on the Earth itself. It's why we have a North Pole and a South Pole. The magnetic field generated by the Earth's core is the reason life itself is possible on Earth. Without the protection of the Earth's magnetic field, we would all die from cosmic radiation poisoning. Science is only now beginning to understand the complex interplays of energy this magnetic field generates on and beneath the surface of the Earth. But there is evidence that our ancient ancestors understood and used these energies to their own benefit. These energies are called Telluric energies, from the Latin tellus, meaning earth. The British amateur archaeologist Alfred Watkins created the concept of ley lines in 1921. He noticed that many of the sacred sites of the British Isles seemed to line up with each other. He called these straight lines ley lines, because so many of the lines passed through places with variations of the word ley in their name: Wembley, Groveley, Abbottsley, etc. He therefore concluded that these places were named according to these ley lines. Watkins theorized that ley lines were where the telluric energies of the Earth were particularly strong. Sacred sites were built along these lines to take advantage of these energies. In ancient mythologies from many cultures around the world, snakes and dragons represent these telluric energies. The horned god Cernunnos is sometimes depicted holding snakes, and he's also sometimes depicted with snakes in place of legs. Since snakes are equated with the telluric energies of the Earth, Cernunnos may be seen as creating and manipulating these telluric energies. Many other gods and goddesses have also been depicted holding snakes. By handling snakes, the gods are weaving the energies of the Earth to create and destroy. Likewise, a goal of Druidry and the Black Mountain Druid Order is to weave these energies to manifest change in our lives and in the lives of others. Ultimately, these telluric energies are the source of all life on Earth. They are the sacred life force that Druids in our order recognize. As you spend time outdoors this week, see if you can detect any differences in the energies you sense from different locations. Do some places just feel more right to you than others? How does the energy of each place manifest itself? How can you sense it with your body? How can you sense this energy with your mind? With your spirit? Experiment and find out. The more you do, the more you'll be familiar with how to work with telluric energies.
Living on my own, I don't know what it means. I've been here before, trying to live my dreams. The world beyond the veil is there for all to see, but still we close our eyes, ignore the mystery. And I can't believe the wasted time. The years weigh heavy on my mind. I don't know what we hope to find inside. Once there was a way to live in harmony. Once there was a way to prosper and be free. The goddess taught us well. Somehow we lost our way. We fell beneath the spell, and the spirit fell away. And I can't believe the wasted time. The years weigh heavy on my mind. I don't know what we hope to find inside. Someday we may return to the bosom of the earth, the spirit of the land, the home of our rebirth. The time it ticks away, the longer that we wait, I hope we mustn't learn we can't escape our fate. And I can't believe the wasted time, the years weigh heavy on my mind. I don't know what we hope to find inside.
If you've ever seen a discussion of druids in the popular media, you probably saw pictures and video of the druids gathering at Stonehenge. The hidden implication here is that druids built Stonehenge. The druids are and were a Celtic priesthood and class, and the problem with such implications is that most historians and anthropologists agree that the Celts didn't arrive in Britain until around 500 BCE. Stonehenge was probably built as early as around 1550 BCE, over 1,000 years before the Celts and therefore the first Druids would have arrived. On the other hand, the Celts were more of a culture and a language group than a race of people. It could be that Stonehenge was built by an earlier people, and when the Celts arrived on the British Isles, they incorporated the beliefs of those earlier people into their own spiritual practices. The Druids were and are attuned to the cycles of nature, and Stonehenge is nothing if not a place to mark and celebrate the passing of the seasons. So they may have understood and appreciated its significance and taken it for their own, just as Christians built churches and cathedrals on older pagan sites. The association of the Druids with Stonehenge probably began during the Druid revival of the 18th century, when historians of the period had a tendency to associate anything mysterious with the Druids. This association may or may not have been erroneous. Time will tell as more archaeological evidence becomes available. What is certain is that the modern pairing of Druids and Stonehenge has now been indelibly stamped into the collective unconscious. This can be demonstrated by the fact that modern Druids celebrate the solstices at Stonehenge. Some Druid groups have even replicated this enigmatic stone circle in places as diverse as Washington State, Missouri, and New Zealand. One final misconception about Druidry stems from the Judeo-Christian heritage, and that is the idea that Druids worship Satan. There's a tendency among many interpretations of Christianity to depict any other gods and goddesses as satanic in origin. In fact, Christianity's depiction of the devil as a horned man was taken from the Celtic horned god Cernunnos. Here's a fun fact. The depiction of Satan with horns is an invention of the church. For fun sometime, ask your Christian friends to point out where in the Bible it says that Satan had horns. They won't be able to because it's not there. Cernunnos, whose name literally means horned one, is seen as the physical embodiment of nature in human form. He's a god associated with wildness and fertility. The early fathers of the Christian church associated them with their devil in order to discourage pagan practices. Celtic spirituality and paganism in general have no concept of Satan. The Druid path does not divide the universe up neatly into simplistic black and white good versus evil terms. While many Druids honor Cernunnos, in our practice he's not associated with evil. Instead, he's the bringer of prosperity, joy, and fertility. So who were the Druids, and who are they today? The earliest known reference to a people called Druidae was by the Greek author Soton of Alexandria around 200 to 170 BCE. Although Soton's original writings no longer survive, Diogenes Laertius quoted him as giving a very favorable opinion of the Druids as learned scholars. Julius Caesar also mentioned the Druids in the Gallic Wars, written around 50 BCE. In this work, Caesar tells of the Druids practicing human sacrifice by burning victims alive in a giant wicker man. Since Caesar was attempting to conquer the Gauls at the time, many scholars question the accuracy of this claim. It may be true that the Gallic Wars was nothing but propaganda, at least in Caesar's account of the Druids. It's also true that many cultures throughout the world at that time, including the Romans, practiced human sacrifice. Attempting to judge cultures of the past through modern eyes is futile, without a full understanding of the historical context. It could be argued, for example, that we practice human sacrifice today with our unwillingness to do anything about gun control. But whether or not it was true that the ancient Druids practiced human sacrifice is certainly not true of today's Druids. Although it's fun sometimes when encountering highly dogmatic Reconstructionists to ask them how many humans they've sacrificed this week in their efforts to recapture authentic Druidry. So what does the word Druid mean? Strabo and Pliny the Elder claim that the word derived from the Greek word for oak, which is drus. If this is the case, then the word Druid could have come from the Greek for oak, plus the Sanskrit word for knowledge, which is vid, which is transliterated into the Greek form of Uid. The combination would result in Dru-Uid, or oak knowledge. Another possibility is that the Celtic word for oak tree, dore, is a word whose root also means wisdom. The oak was considered the king of the forest to the Celtic people. It's associated with strength and greatness. Therefore, Druids were the wise ones of the oak, or those who see all, or those whose knowledge is great. In other words, Druids were and are shamans. This association with trees in general and with the oak in particular is probably responsible for the popular misconception that Druids worship trees. As with most misconceptions, there's a bit of truth in it, but it's not entirely accurate. Druids don't exactly worship trees. Instead, Druids see that the energy of a creative force is present in the trees, and Druids honor and hold that life energy sacred. This life energy is the same as the Telluric energy that we spoke about earlier. While Druids run the gamut in their personal expression of spirituality, from monotheistic Druids to polytheistic Druids to agnostic and even atheist Druids, they almost universally agree that the life force, called Njart in Scots Gaelic, Nert in Irish Gaelic, and Nuevra in Welsh, is sacred. So trees are just one of the many manifestations of Telluric energy. One of the first things you will do when you identify your birth tree is to learn your tree's moods. At first it may seem odd to think of trees as having moods, but as you come to know your tree, it may not seem so odd at all. As you spend your year with your tree, learning its moods will become almost second nature to you. To begin understanding how to learn a tree's feelings, think about how you observe the feelings of your friends and family. A subtle change of posture, or a slight change of facial expression, and you can tell when your romantic partner is feeling a bit down. Likewise, the more you know your tree, the more you will become sensitive to its moods. Explore your tree with your senses. Taste its fruit. Smell its blossoms. Touch its bark. Does its scent change with the seasons? Does its bark feel different in the morning than it does in the evening? Can you tell by taste when the fruit is ripe for the picking if your tree has fruit? The more time you spend with your tree, the more you will become attuned to how these changes manifest. When you truly come to know your tree, you will see that it can predict the weather by the way its leaves orient themselves. You will be able to know when your tree is about to bear fruit, when its leaves will begin to shed, and when the seasons are about to change. When you begin to understand the ways of weaving the Nuevra, you can take energy from your tree when you need it, and you can give energy to your tree when it needs you. To begin understanding your tree's moods, talk to it and listen for a reply. Don't listen with your ears, listen with your heart. If you're sincere in your efforts, your tree will reward you. The Cave Meditation for Conquering Fear. This meditation will help you to overcome fears, stress, and concerns. Perform this meditation with the lights turned low or off. It may help to do this meditation in a dark room with a single lit candle. Alternately, and preferably, you may do it outdoors. If you have the availability, you may obtain the best results doing this meditation outdoors in the evening near a campfire. As with all meditations, make sure you're not wearing any tight or restrictive clothing and make yourself as comfortable as possible, preferably by lying on your back with your feet about shoulder width apart and with your arms by your sides, palms turned upwards. Or by sitting cross-legged on the ground, with your hands on your knees, palm turns upwards, in receiving position. Before you begin, hold in your mind an image of the fear or stress that you are planning to let go of. Picture it deep within you. It is there, but it cannot harm you. It may help to picture the fear as a small ball of smoke resting in your abdomen. Get comfortable, then begin this meditation by grounding and centering. Begin deep breathing and continue until you are completely relaxed. Once you are relaxed and at ease, picture yourself walking through a dimly lit forest at twilight. Engage all of your senses as you walk. Picture the flora and the fauna of the forest. Inhale deeply and appreciate the fragrances on the breeze. Notice the sounds you hear coming from the woods. At twilight, the day birds are beginning to rest, and the night birds are just awakening for the evening. How does the gentle breeze in the forest feel upon your skin? How does the earth feel beneath your feet? Picture these things as you continue this meditation. As you continue to walk through the woods, you come upon the entrance to a cave. The walls of the cave are covered with a glowing, luminescent moss so that you can see your way through to the center of the cave. The floor of the cave is covered with this moss as well, and as you lie down in the middle of the cave floor, the entire cave glows with a blue-green, healing light. You You can see that the cave is composed largely of crystals, and the light is bouncing and refracting off of those crystals, creating a natural light show within the crystal chamber. As you lie on the floor, return to the fear or the stress that you pictured earlier. Visualize it again as a ball of smoke within your stomach. Examine this ball of fear in your mind's eye. Does it have any features? What color is it? What is its shape? Are its edges smooth or jagged? Is it symmetrical or asymmetrical? This ball of fear exists for a purpose. It is there to serve as a warning. But now that you are aware of it, its purpose has been fulfilled. Thank it for serving its purpose, but tell it that since it has fulfilled its function, you no longer need it. As you lie there on the cave floor, inhale deeply and then exhale slowly. As you exhale, picture the fear as a cloud of colored smoke, leaving your body a little more with each exhalation. As you complete each exhalation, see the fear as a faint cloud rising to the ceiling of the cave and slowly dissipating and evaporating. A little more of this smoke of fear disappears with each exhaled breath. With each inhaled breath, you are taking in more of the earth energy that surrounds you and radiates from the crystals in the cave. You are breathing your fear away. Continue deep breathing as you lie comfortably in the cave. Let your breath continue until all of the dark smoke of fear has left your body. When all of the fear is gone, only you will remain, lying quiet and still at the center of your own being. Lie here for a few moments in the cave, allowing its cool blue-green radiance to bathe you and to heal you.
When you are ready, make your way out of the cave and back into the forest. Once again noticing the flora and the fauna that greet you as you walk. It is now evening. The night creatures roam the forest, but within you there is no fear, and you welcome them with open arms as brothers and sisters of the woods. As you begin your walk out of the forest, mark and remember this cave, this forest, and this journey. You may return to this cave at any time when you feel the need to release any fear, worries, anxiety, or stress. As you prepare to end this meditation, thank the spirits of the earth for helping you to rid yourself of the burden of your fears. Thank the gods and the non-gods for leading you to this sacred space. Thank the ancestors for their wisdom, which now and always lives within you. Take the wisdom of the ancestors with you as this meditation ends, and you return to this world, here and now, without fear.
Hi, this is Shinka Skane, Chief of the Black Mountain Druid Order. If you're enjoying Black Mountain Druidry, don't forget to subscribe and leave any comments or questions below. You can learn more about the Black Mountain Druid Order or become a member by visiting the website at blackmountaindruidorder.com. Thanks for watching, and as always, blessings of the ancestors on you and yours.